Welcome to Stick to Sports. I'm Joey Pulatsky.
And I'm Zach Malamud. Today, North Carolina shocks Duke at Cameron. LeBron drops 56 to beat the Warriors, and more on Calvin Ridley's suspension.
Roll it. The North Carolina Tar Heels went to Durham Saturday and knocked off the Duke Blue Devils in Coach K's final game at Cameron Indoor. UNC took the victory 94-81 after being double-digit underdogs. UNC turned the ball over just 5 times, but both offenses were dominant. Zach, how crazy is it that Coach K's final game at Cameron Indoor is not just a loss, but it's also a loss to UNC?
Yeah, it's pretty bad for Duke, and Coach K said it after the game. When you look at this kind of game and the magnitude of this game, it's unacceptable to lose, especially to the rival in UNC. But Duke was not the better team in this one. It was all UNC to put up 94 points, especially in Cameron Indoor, after a team like Duke beat them by 30 points earlier in the season. It's just a bad look for Duke, and what a great win for North Carolina. I know their fans really love that one, to beat Coach K in his final game at Cameron.
Yeah, I mean, obviously UNC fans have to love that, to go out and beat Coach K, like you said, in his final game at Cameron. He's got 572 career wins at Cameron. He'd be in the top 80 of most winning head college basketball coaches of all time if it's just his wins at Cameron Indoor. The guy's obviously a legend, but keep in mind, this is a guy that's yelled at the student section, student media. I mean, his grandson got a DUI on the Duke basketball team earlier this year. There's plenty of controversy around him. We just don't love him because it's last year, but we got to keep in mind, when did we start loving Coach K?
No doubt. Falcons wide receiver Calvin Ridley has received a season-long suspension from the NFL for betting on games while he missed time last year to address his mental health. Adam Schefter reported that Ridley placed multiple parlays that included the Falcons to win. The former Alabama standout took to Twitter to voice his displeasure with tweets that included, quote, "I don't have a gambling problem, and I know I was wrong, but I'm getting 1 year." Joey, do you think the punishment fits the crime here?
I think there is absolutely no shot the punishment fits the crime here. I mean, Bally Sports Network in Atlanta is a casino. They broadcast all of the Braves games. They broadcast plenty of Atlanta Hawks games. It's preposterous. That makes absolutely no sense for Calvin Ridley to be suspended that long. I mean, we just saw gambling get legalized in New York State. I mean, if he's on the Giants or the Jets and he's not even breaking any laws, and you're still going to suspend him for an entire season, it makes no sense to me. I mean, if you want to say that it's because he's betting on his team, and you could go that route, but if he's betting against his team, paying teammates to throw games, it's a whole different thing. But at the end of the day, he's not doing anything. He claimed he wasn't even watching the games. He needed a break from football. It's just outright preposterous by Goodell in the NFL.
I agree with you, and you bring up a lot of good points there. I do think the suspension is a little much, 1 year. For a league that just moved a team to Las Vegas, to expect players to not be gambling is absolutely insane. I would say probably at least 20% of players in the NFL are gambling. The NFL just does not know about it.
On Saturday, the Los Angeles Lakers defeated the Golden State Warriors 124-116 behind 56 points from All-Star LeBron James. LeBron's 56 points are the third highest point total in his 19-year career and his most since joining the Lakers. He shot 61% from the field and hit 6 3-pointers the other night, and the Lakers still sit in 9th place in the West, 4.5 games back of their rival Clippers. Zach, do you think this performance by LeBron will give the Lakers the motivation they need to turn the season around?
I think it'll give them a little bit of motivation, especially beating the Warriors. I know the Warriors have been struggling, especially without Draymond Green, but LeBron James putting up 56 points, he said it. It's desperation time for the Lakers, and they're in 9th place in the Western Conference. Nobody really expected that to start this season. They need to pick it up, and it has to come now. So they're probably going to need a couple more performances like that from LeBron James, because they don't really have too much around him. And with Anthony Davis always injured, Russell Westbrook not really helping him out, those performances could give this team a little bit of motivation.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly couldn't tell you the last time Anthony Davis played over 85%, 90% of a regular season. And Russ Westbrook coming in this year seemed to be such a great addition. He just has obviously just not been his prime self this season. And like you said, the Lakers are going to need prime 56-point outings out of LeBron to go win basketball games. That's happened, what we said, 3 times in his career. It's unreal. He's not going to hit that mark usually. And I mean, they're going to be on the brink of the playoffs. They might squeak one game, but they're not going to make a championship run. There's no way.
The Michigan Wolverines won 75-69 in Columbus on Sunday against their rival Ohio State Buckeyes. This was the 5th and final game of Michigan head coach Juwan Howard's suspension. Senior guard Devontae Jones had 21 points for the Wolverines. This is the Buckeyes' second loss at home to an unranked team this week, with an 8-point loss to Nebraska on Tuesday. Joey, is this result more meaningful to Michigan or Ohio State?
For basketball, it's definitely got to be for Michigan in terms of them trying to get resume wins. Juwan Howard being suspended for the final 5 games. I believe it was 2 or 3 of their final 5 against ranked opponents. You go up to Columbus, beat Ohio State. That's a big resume win for a team on the bubble. If it was football, I mean, obviously it'd be a huge win either way. But right now, with Selection Sunday coming up this weekend, Ohio State more than likely already having their ticket punched. Michigan really needed this win, especially with all this controversy around Juwan Howard and him missing the last few games and how big of a distraction that could have been. This Wolverine squad has handled this really well.
Yeah, I do think it's a bigger win for Michigan just based on they're on that bubble right now to make it into the NCAA tournament. But I do think this win in Columbus gets them into the tournament no matter what happens in the Big Ten tournament. But I do think it is a little bit meaningful for Ohio State to lose twice to unranked teams on your home floor. You're the number 23 team in the nation and you're losing twice to unranked teams. I get it. It's a rivalry game against Michigan, but you can't be losing those games on your home floor.
We're going to take a quick break here on Stick to Sports. Up next, we take a look at the biggest stories in the NBA and check in on college basketball from this weekend. Stay tuned right here on WTOP 10.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become 1 in a million.
Our son Arjun was born with cystic fibrosis. CF is a genetic disease that shortens lives. When the foundation was founded in 1955, children with CF rarely lived long enough to attend kindergarten. Today, thanks to the foundation's groundbreaking research, advocacy, and care, some people with CF are attending college, getting married, and starting families. We've made amazing progress, but until a cure is found for all people with CF, we will not stop. Help us add tomorrows. Visit cff.org today.
Is there a danger hiding in your home? Unused opioid medicines could harm your family. Find your unused opioid pills, patches, or syrups and learn how to dispose of them safely at fda.gov/drug disposal.
Welcome back to Stick to Sports. Jason Tatum dumped in 54 points Sunday afternoon to lead the Celtics over the Nets by a final of 126-120. Tatum was 16 of 30 from the field, 8 of 15 from deep, and 14 of 17 from the free throw line. While this is obviously a big win for the Celtics against a Nets road team that had Kyrie, we have to start respecting Jason Tatum more, right, Zach?
We definitely do. And he saw LeBron's game on Saturday night, said he was going to follow his footsteps and put in an unbelievable performance on Sunday. This Celtics team is cruising through the East right now. They really are. And the Nets, I'm still waiting for Ben Simmons to come back because it's just not enough, really, with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. That's a little bit crazy to say, but Kevin Durant has been absolutely on fire, dropping almost 40 points in this one. But yes, we do have to start respecting Jason Tatum. He is carrying this Celtics team, and he does have a good amount of pieces around him. But I do think Jason Tatum is up there with some of the youngest players in this league. He's got to be at least top 3 in the youngest players in the NBA.
I'm with you. I think he's top 3, probably top 2, if not number 1, in all honesty. Jason Tatum turned 24 years old last week. He has the second highest plus-minus of any 24-year-old behind Tony Parker. He's up there at around plus 1,700 through his young NBA career. You definitely got to start respecting him more. And, I mean, people say that he's up next, but, I mean, right now, Jason Tatum's pound for pound one of the best players in the league, the star of the Boston Celtics, one of the most historic franchises in the NBA, and definitely have to start respecting Jason Tatum more. The Miami Heat beat the Philadelphia 76ers 99-82 in a very defensive game Saturday night. Philly shot just 34% from the field while knocking down just 7 of their 41 three-point attempts. James Harden did not play, but Joel Embiid was held to 4 of 15 from the field and 0 of 6 from deep. Miami's bench also contributed 48 of their team's 99 points, but Zach, overall, you got to think this is a good sign for Miami to be able to slow down Embiid a little bit, right?
I do think this is a good sign, especially for a Miami team that can go up against the Sixers team and probably beat them. They are definitely talented enough, and I know James Harden didn't play in this game. That's a huge loss to not have, especially on the road in Miami, but the Heat were absolutely dominant. The goal was to stop Embiid in this one, and they absolutely did that perfectly. And Bam Adebayo has been on and off with injuries, but if he's healthy in the playoffs, he can stop Embiid, no doubt about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think my main takeaway from this game would have to be that they were able to slow down Joel Embiid when all the attention's on him. But at the end of the day, James Harden, when he comes back, it's obviously going to be very different, and you're going to have to, disperse the attention a bit, pound for pound, in my book at least, with the best guard big man combo in the NBA. But I mean, we all know how James Harden is as well. Who knows if he's going to be fully bought into the Sixers team come playoff time? We'll see. There's still question marks around that. Jared Allen fractured his left middle finger in Sunday night's Cavaliers loss, and the team will now be without their all-star center indefinitely. The big man is having a career year for the Cavaliers, who are currently 6th in the East. He's averaging 16.1 points per game and 10.8 rebounds per game. Zach, how much does this loss hurt the Cavaliers down the stretch?
This is massive for the Cavaliers, and I know Evan Mobley's down low, but Jared Allen, that trade to get Jared Allen that involved, it was James Harden and those couple of trades. To get Jared Allen to pair him down low with Evan Mobley completely changed this offense. Garland and Sexton up top, they're so good with Jared Allen down low. Not having him, especially going near the playoffs, is very big for this Cavs team.
Yeah, I mean, it's unbelievable what Jared Allen's brought to this Cavaliers team. I mean, I know myself and some other people that loved him on the Brooklyn Nets, and he just didn't quite get a shine there, obviously surrounded by so many stars there, but as a Nets fan, and it's beautiful to see Jared Allen getting the shine he deserves in Cleveland, and it's going to be a huge loss for one of the top guys on this playoff team right now.
The number 17 ranked UCLA Bruins defeated their cross-city rival, and the number 16 ranked USC Trojans 75-68 on Saturday night. The Bruins clinched the second seed in the Pac-12 tournament behind 27 points from guard Jaime Jaquez Jr. UCLA had just one turnover to the Trojans' 15 to help snap a 5-game losing streak against USC. Joey, which of these teams are you more afraid of come tournament time?
I would definitely have to say UCLA, just considering how deep of a run they made last year. And like you said, Jaime Jaquez Jr., this is a guy that's been here before come March, and he's very comfortable in these situations, turned into an absolute killer down the stretch in March last season for UCLA. Bringing him back, Mick Cronin obviously coming back for the Bruins this year, who's very comfortable out in UCLA. And like you said, one turnover in a game, you're going to win about 99% of your basketball games with just one turnover in a single game, especially against a top team like USC.
I'm actually more worried about USC just because even though UCLA made that run last year, they have a lot of the same guys from that team. I am worried about USC just because they've also beaten some big teams in the tournament. They basically have the same team. Obviously, Evan Mobley went to the NBA, but his brother Isaiah is still there. Boogie Ellis, Drew Peterson, those guys are knockdown shooters. They're a dangerous team come tourney time. 20th ranked Illinois edged by number 24 Iowa 74-72 in a Big Ten showdown on Sunday. Iowa star Keegan Murray had 22 points. However, his brother Chris Murray missed a wide open go-ahead three with just seconds remaining. Illinois clinched a share of the Big Ten regular season title with their win and Wisconsin's loss to Nebraska earlier in the day. Joey, can this Illinois team go on a deep run?
I personally don't think they will. I mean, Illinois returns Kofi Coburn from last year, Andre Curbelo, who I personally am huge on, one of the flashiest point guards in the Big Ten, if not all of college basketball. But the main reason I think no is this team we saw last year lose Ayo Dosunmu to the NBA. And then on top of that, they didn't even make it out of the first weekend last year. And this team is worse than last year's team, and last year's team didn't do a whole lot come March. So, no, I don't think this Illinois team is going to go too deep.
Yeah, I agree with you. This Illinois team is not that great. It's Kofi Coburn and basically nothing. They have Plummer and Frazier up top, but without Ayo Dosunmu and losing like they did last year, you can't believe that they're going to go on a far run this year. The unranked Nebraska Cornhuskers knocked off the number 10 ranked Wisconsin Badgers 74-73 in Madison on Sunday. Nebraska grabbed their second win against an AP ranked team this season. The biggest story was Wisconsin star Johnny Davis leaving the game early in the second half with an apparent lower body injury. Joey, are you worried about Wisconsin with Davis's injury still unknown?
Yeah, I mean, you definitely have to be worried about him. I mean, we're losing a star player, one of their top scorers for the Badgers, who obviously are a little deeper than they've been in years past with Brad Davidson alongside other guys on that Badger squad. But, I mean, you got to be worried come March, and if you're going to lose a guy at all during the basketball season, you don't want to lose him right now.
Yeah, they had that big win last week to clinch the title. They beat Purdue on their home floor to clinch the Big Ten regular season title. But without Johnny Davis, I really don't know what this Wisconsin team really is. They have a couple of really good big men down low with Wall and Crowell, but it's a struggle to see Brad Davison by himself without Johnny Davis. How can he do it?
We have to take a quick break, but when we come back, Zach will be joined by Ben Diamond. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Stick to Sports.
I've been driving a truck for 40 years now. If people knew what I know, lives could be saved. Like that trucks can't stop quickly. It takes my 80,000-pound truck 200 yards to come to a complete stop. So I always do my best to give a lot of cushion. It helps when other drivers realize that and do the same. Please give trucks the space we need so we can all stay safe. It's our roads. It's our safety.
Okay, Dad. 1, 2, 3. You saved me. Dad?
Are you okay?
I'm fine, dear.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
Welcome back to Stick to Sports. Joining me now is Ben Diamond, one of our producers. Ben, what do you got for us tonight?
Thanks, Joey. Amid the ongoing lockout situation, the MLB made a few changes to rules that could have a big effect on how the game is played. A few of the rule changes set to take effect are the further implementation of the pitch clock, larger bases, and the banning of the shift. Getting rid of the shift takes a lot of strategy of how a manager sets up his defense. There have been a lot of people who have been for and against this new rule. What are your thoughts?
I mean, I think in terms of the shift and getting rid of it, Personally, just as wanting to see baseball back quick as possible, I don't think it's something that affects the game as much. I'd rather have baseball than, I mean, my opinion on having baseball back is a whole lot stronger than whether defenses can shift or not. I mean, personally, I do think that shifts should be allowed. It's strategy, especially with the way the game's going and sabermetrics and all the advanced stats you can get on hitters and their tendencies and things of that sort. I think shifts should definitely be allowed. But if you're going to ban it and get baseball on my TV, so be it. I'm not too mad at it.
Yeah, I agree. I think the change is necessary, especially for a lot of players, notably Joey Gallo, who's been, I think, at the forefront of this argument. He is a strikeout or home run hitter, but for the most part, he pulls the ball, and teams know that, so they shift. And he believes that that takes away a lot from his batting average. Do you think that that'll have much of an effect on him, or do you think that he's still too much strikeout?
No, I mean, as a Yankee fan and as a Joey Gallo fan especially, I mean, he's definitely, like you said, a primarily pull guy. But, I mean, just the guys coming up in this next generation, you're going to have to learn to work the other way or you're not going to be able to make it in the show.
Georgia defensive lineman Jordan Davis put on a show at the NFL Combine. The 6'6", 341-pound lineman ran a 4.78 40-yard dash. With the showing, Davis, who was a big piece in the Georgia Bulldog National Championship win in January, raised his draft stock even more as he showed off his athletic prowess at his size. We will just have to wait and see what happens come draft time.
Yeah, I mean, Jordan Davis was impressive all season for Georgia, and especially in that national championship game. I mean, looking down there, and obviously it's Alabama versus Georgia. It's some of the best collegiate football players that are out there right now, and a lot of the best athletes as well. And seeing him just absolutely terrorize that Alabama offensive line was shocking. And now seeing his combine numbers come in, a 4.78 40-yard dash for a guy that's 6'6", 341 is insane. And I mean, it just kind of goes to show the speed and not just the strength, but also the speed and the athleticism of guys in the trenches these days, offensive and defensive.
Yeah, he's really impressive. On the season, he had 2 sacks and 32 tackles. Now, you look at 2 sacks, and you're like, only 2 sacks for a defensive lineman? But then you have to remember, he also made a racket for quarterbacks in the backfield. And with that, it helped his defensive backs get more stats and have the ball get thrown away.
Yeah, I mean, the Georgia defense was real impressive all year. And I mean, just like you said, he's a big part of it. And I'm sure at the next level, he'll translate just fine.
Ahmad Sauce Gardner continued to show why he is one of the top defensive backs in the draft at the NFL Combine. Gardner ran a 4.41 40-yard dash and impressed the scouts with his agility and lateral movements. Gardner was an avoided at all costs by college offensive coordinators, and NFL teams are hoping his game will translate well to the next level.
Ben, I'm going to ask you this question here. Do you think we'd take him as seriously if his nickname wasn't Sauce, yes or no?
I think we would, I think Sauce just adds to it, but I think we would, because letting up no touchdowns in his entire college career is very impressive, and not many players can say that. So I think that even though his name is Sauce, and that's a main reason why we talk about him a lot, I think that should be talked about more.
Right, I mean, I'll tell you what, like, I would want a guy on my team who, like you said, did not let up a single touchdown his entire collegiate career. I'd want a guy on my team whose nickname is Sauce. You put him into the same, and that's definitely a guy I'd want on my team. And as a Giants fan, with how some of the secondaries, you put him in there, mix him up with Bradbury in the secondary and some of the stronger pieces as well. I think Sauce Gardner is definitely going to be a rock-solid guy at the next level, and just another guy putting up impressive numbers at the Combine and probably going to translate pretty well.
Yeah, with 40 sacks, 40 tackles, and 3 interceptions on the season, he'll be very valuable if he can translate that to the NFL.
We'll take a quick break right here on Stick to Sports. Thanks once again to Ben for his segment, and when we come back, Zach and I will go through our best bets and what to watch for. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Stick to Sports right here on WTOP 10.
Oh, look, a redhead.
Staring contest.
You still got it. I know.
Come alive with the forest.
The dad was cute.
They were looking right at us.
Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
To Stick to Sports. For my What to Watch this week, I'm going to everyone's favorite Sunday of the year. Yes, even better than the Super Bowl. March Madness starts in just over 1 week, so that means Selection Sunday starts on Sunday. Conference tournaments all throughout this week will help the committee make their decisions on who is in and who is out for the 2022 NCAA Men's Basketball Tournament. It is almost time to make those brackets. 67 games in 20 days. One of the best times of the year is upon us. And it all starts at 6 o'clock on Sunday when the complete 68-team field is announced.
Zach, I'm with you. I love Selection Sunday. I don't know if I'd go as far to say that it's over the Super Bowl. But, I mean, if you want to, it's definitely up there. It's definitely up there in terms of Sundays on the calendar.
As a college basketball fan, there's no day that I look forward to more, really. I know they're the first day of March Madness, obviously, but Selection Sunday, getting those brackets set, trying to figure it out, it's so much fun.
You got to do it on paper, too. You got to write it down. My What to Watch this week comes Wednesday night down in Miami as the top seed in each NBA conference clash, with the Phoenix Suns taking on the Miami Heat. Phoenix is missing multiple key players, including Chris Paul and Devin Booker, but this team's been decently successful since CP3 was sidelined with his finger injury. I would expect Miami to win this due to Phoenix's injuries, but the Suns have decent depth, and anytime top teams clash, regardless of injuries, it's going to be must-watch television. With how loaded this Heat team is and how good they looked against Philly the other night as well, this is definitely a game to watch.
Yeah, it's going to be a game to watch, and even though Phoenix doesn't have those top guys, they're still a really good team. They added so much depth in the offseason. That's kind of what made a lot of people think again, maybe Phoenix can get to the finals again just because of the depth they added to that squad. But they're going up against a Heat team that is red hot right now, the #1 team in the East, the team to beat right now. Can anybody beat them, especially Phoenix now? Without their 2-star players, can they beat them in Miami? That should be fun. Now shifting to best bets, Providence +9 was easy money last week, so I'm going to stay in college basketball. Some Power 5 conference tournaments start tomorrow, and in the ACC, I'm riding the Clemson Tigers against the NC State Wolfpack. These teams met one time during the regular season, and Clemson was victorious on the road by 5 points. The Tigers are on a 4-game winning streak and are definitely the favorite to add to that against the lowest-seeded team in their conference. The Tigers are led by P.J. Hall, who is averaging over 15 points per game and almost 6 rebounds per game for the Tigers. Look for him to dominate down low against the Wolfpack, who allow over 75 points per game to their opponents. Give me Clemson -5.5 against NC State in the ACC tournament tomorrow at 4:30.
Zach, if you're looking to parlay some college basketball tomorrow, I got my best bets there as well. It's going to be in the first round of the Western Athletic Conference Tournament. The first game of the WAC tournament is between number 8 California Baptist and number 9 UT Rio Grande Valley at 9 o'clock tomorrow night, and I'm all in on the California Baptist Lancers. Cal Baptist is 7-14 on the year and 7-11 in the conference, or 17-14 on the year, I should say, while they also feature the conference freshman of the year, Teron Armstrong. The Lancers are a team with talent from all over the world, as their top 5 scorers come from Canada, England, Australia, and the Armstrong brothers from Tasmania. Cal Baptist has won 3 of their last 4 and are peaking at the right time, while Rio Grande Valley has dropped 7 of their past 8. 6.5 points is nothing to this wagon from Riverside. Lance up and lock it in.
What is a Lancer? I'm not sure. I guess we'll figure it out.
I don't know, but I love it. I love it.
That's all the time we have on this episode of Stick to Sports. Be sure to tune in next week right here on WTOP 10.